Hey friends, welcome back. This episode, we are going to talk about other people's models. So when I say models, I'm referring to my steer model, which is situation. All situations are neutral. Okay, that's anything external outside of you. I'm going to link the episode where we talk about the steer model into this one so you can go back and watch that. Or listen to it. I'd recommend that you, if you haven't heard that episode, you go back, you listen to that episode first, and then you come back to this episode. It's going to give you better context.
It'll make more sense.
Yeah. So S is situation. Situations are external outside of us. T is for the thought. What thought do you have about that situation? Because that's what makes a situation good or bad. It's the thought. And then from the thought, it creates an emotion, right? Our thoughts create our emotions. Our emotions drive our actions, right? They're driving us to take action or to not take action. So that would be the A. And then the A, our actions or inactions create the results in our life, right? So you can see, we call that models. You can see how my model is very personal, right? Because I'm creating the T line, the thought line, right? You're showing up in the world as Carmen, doing your thing, right? And I have a thought about what you're doing, which then follows down the rest of the model, right? Emotion, action, results. Okay. So when my clients start to get this, they see that they're just in models, right? Like this thought created this thought, emotion, action, result, and that's their model. And they're taking ownership over their models because they're taking ownership over the results they're creating in their life. So eventually we get to a point of where the question comes up, well, what do we do with other people's models? Right? Because you see then, like you have a thought, you have models, you have a thought about me that creates your model, right? So that's why like relationships, when we talk about relationships in the program, it's like your relationship is just your thoughts about someone else. Right? Yeah. If you like someone, it's because you have positive thoughts about them. If you don't like someone, it's because you have negative thoughts about them. So you could have a relationship with anyone, whether they live here or whether they live across the country, another continent, have passed away. Yeah. Because your relationship is your thoughts about that human. Yeah. Right. So when the question is asked, what do I do with other people's models? Right. They can see, they see like, this person has these thoughts that are creating their actions and they're getting these results. And I don't like this person's model, right? Especially when you're coming out of people pleasing. So people pleasing, from my perspective, is manipulation, right? Because you're seeing this person is unhappy. Yeah. Right. That makes me feel uncomfortable that you're unhappy. I don't like feeling uncomfortable. So I'm going to try to make you feel happy. So once you're happy, I can feel happy. Right. We see how manipulative it is, right? Because some people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that. I'm like, I feel like that's very clear. Yeah.
Well, when you're thinking about, I'm trying for the people pleasing, I'm trying to influence another person's emotions or thoughts. That's manipulation. It took me a while to understand that. I have to say, the first time you told me that, I thought, I'm not manipulating anybody. I'm far from it. But when you think about it, well, okay, I want you to have a certain reaction. That's a manipulation.
Yeah. Especially, well, I mean, it's because I want you to have another emotion so I can feel a different emotion.
Yes. So I'm less uncomfortable. Yes. Yeah. So I can be, if you're happy, then I can be happy.
Yes. Yeah. That's where the manipulation comes.
Yes, in. You're right. Yeah.
Yes. So when that question is asked, like, what do we do with other people's models? It's like, oh, you don't like their model because their model is making you feel uncomfortable or making you feel the negative emotion. So you're wanting them to change it. Yeah. So you can feel different. Right. So the answer is we don't do a damn thing. Yeah. That's the beauty of free will, is that the other humans
they
get to have their models.
right.
They get to think like they want to think. They get to say what they want to say. They get to behave how they want to behave. I'm not saying that doesn't come with consequences.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
But we can all agree, like, yeah, humans have free will.
Yeah.
They do good things and they do terrible things.
Right.
Right. And why it's so freeing to stay on humans have free will is we stop trying to control them.
I was just going to say it goes to control. Yeah.
Right. And we start spending that time that we're trying to control the other humans on working on us.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So then I go to my models. If I don't like your models, so I'll use an example. So this client has a partner, and this partner is constantly needing validation. Right? Like, am I carrying my weight in this relationship? Am I doing enough? Like, this area of their partnership, like, my client has an expertise in this area and the partner doesn't. They have an expertise in a different area, which makes them a good partner, right? But in this moment in time, they're having to lean really heavy on my client's expertise, which is making his partner create models that they are inadequate. They're not doing enough. They're not pulling their load. And because this person has those T lines, right? It's creating anxiety. It's creating not enoughness. Which then is making them seek out their behaviors are seeking out external validation. Tell me I'm doing enough. Tell me these things, because my client doesn't like the uncomfortableness of them being that model. They're constantly offering validation to that partner. And they're getting pissed about it. It's exhausting.
Well, sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Is this example clear?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then my client's like, how do I change this person's models? I'm tired of being the one that's validating all the time.
Right.
We
can't.
You know whose models we need to change?
Your
models. Because we control your models, your thoughts. You need to go in and work on your thoughts about her models. Right. And the part of the coaching was like, we just learn to be comfortable with other humans having emotions. Right.
True. We're all entitled to our emotions.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's wrong was like letting the human, like, oh, this is your model. Like, it's you're creating hopelessness or sadness or frustration or disappointment. You're moping around the house. Right? Like, what's wrong with that?
Technically, there's nothing wrong with that. But I get the frustration. I get the frustration of especially if it's somebody you're in a relationship with, right? Because you're to a certain extent vested in their well-being. So you want them to feel better.
But why do you want them to feel better?
Because it'll make you feel better. It'll make the relationship happier, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. So that's my expectation and my thought process. So I can't control other people. Or their models.
Right. So if we can, I just feel like it's moving to a place of like respecting the humans. Right. Like respecting them and allowing them to have their models. I'm not going to change your model. I'm not going to get into your model. Like, I'm going to let you have your model that's creating these negative emotions, and I'm going to hold space for you to have them. And I am going to go do the work to not get enmeshed into your models. Right. Your models become neutral to me. Right. Like, oh, my partner's moping around the house. It's very neutral to me. Right. Like, which my client pushes back. They're like, well, that feels very cold. Do you want to, like, if you want to think of it that way, I just
Right.
prefer looking at like, okay, well, what you're doing feels very manipulative.
Yeah. So I'm I'm gonna challenge that, in that I maybe this is manipulative, that you can hold space for somebody in their model.
Okay.
And I want to say you can hold space in a nurturing way.
That sounds like a very flowery, beautiful thought. So please describe more to me.
Okay, so and okay, so I feel like if you hold space for that person in a nurturing way, so in that, from my perspective, in that unconditional love, way of like, hey, I may not get where you're at, but I see where you're, like, I see you, right?
Okay.
Like, I see where you're at. And I love you anyway.
Yeah, that's holding space.
Yeah. And so to me, that's not cold, right? Like, it's like, hey, I can't fix it, right? Like, I can't fix you, but I'm also not going to be sucked into where you're at right now, but I can still care, like, I still care for you, yeah, but I'm not gonna change
Right.
that, unless you want to change that. Then we could get there, but
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I feel
So
like
I'm
that
not-
doesn't have to be, I feel like it doesn't come across as cold.
No.
But
No.
this.
I think it's the highest level of caring and respect.
Yeah.
Right. I see you. I see your experience.
Mhm.
I honor that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I think it's disrespectful to be like, I see you. I see your experience. Now let's go to work to doing some changes.
Okay. That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to help you change it by getting up in your model with you and like trying to help you change the emotions.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Because then it comes from a place of like, I know what's best for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, oh, I don't think you should feel this way.
Yeah.
Well, we're all entitled to our feelings. We're all entitled to our emotions, right? And I mean, you kind of have to think like, if I'm, if one day my thought process is in a negative space, I may not want somebody come in and trying to change my thought process. Right. Just let me, go through my model and do my thing. And we can, get back at another time.
Yes. Because you think about it, like when you've been in a model that creates negative emotion for you, and like you want to, like, perfect example. So your father passed away, right? You created models. Yeah, I think they're optional. I think you created models of like mourning.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Loss. Yeah. Right. Because it's optional. Like some people wouldn't have felt that way, but they lost their father.
True. Okay. Yeah.
So imagine you had those models. You do. You did. Yeah. Yeah. And I was just like, I mean, I know it's really hard that your dad died, but like he's in a better place, and like, like he feels better, and like we're gonna be okay. Yeah. How does that feel?
Not good.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Yeah.
That's me trying to get in your models.
Yeah.
Because I probably subconsciously don't feel comfortable with this grief. Right. Yeah. And so I'm trying to help you feel better so I can feel better.
Yeah. That is a great example, because a lot of people when we lose somebody, people don't want to feel grief, and they don't really know what to do or what to say. And so sometimes they put their foot in their mouth, or sometimes they'll say a bunch of stuff because it's like, oh, I think that this is what you're supposed to say, right? To try and make you feel better. It's like, most of that's not helpful. Yeah. To be honest. I mean, knowing somebody's there to comfort and support you and like to hold that space, by far, much more helpful than somebody, saying, oh, he's in a better place. He's not in pain now. Like, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I see that.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I hold space for your model, you're in grief.
Yeah.
I hold space like, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
And I'm here for however you need me. And I allow you to feel your grief. And I sit with you, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to cry, you cry. If you want to be angry, you be angry. And it doesn't impact my emotional state, right? Because I'm just lovingly holding space for you and allowing you to be in your models.
Right.
Right. Trusting that you're a human. And when you're ready to change models, you will.
Right.
So then I get the pushback. Well, they don't have mindset work. They don't know they're in these models. We just have to allow respect for the humans that they'll figure it out.
Right. Yeah. So they may not know the detailed and the thought work of the model that, of the model that you've been taught, but that doesn't mean they don't necessarily know, right? Like we all experience emotions, right? And it's the same thing. So, I mean, I love your example of grief. You had already introduced me to, the thought work when that happened, but it's the same idea, right? Just because somebody may not be able to articulate what the model is, the thoughts, the emotions, the actions, the results, doesn't mean they don't know that they have a model.
Right.
Yeah. Or they may not know it in that term or sense, but they know what they're feeling and how they're experiencing that situation at the time.
Right.
Yeah. And they may not want somebody else's influence or trying to change that thought process and change those emotions.
And sometimes they do.
Oh, okay.
So we move out of grief and we move to a different emotion, right?
Yeah.
Inadequacy.
Okay.
Right? When people are in inadequacy and they don't have mindset work, a lot of times they go look for external validation.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So they have a model that's running, let's say, I'm not enough.
Yeah.
Like is probably not the conscious thought, but the subconscious thoughts is running that model, right?
Yeah.
Which creates inadequacy, which then causes their behavior to go out and seek external validation, right?
Yes.
Okay. Which is exhausting for us.
Yes. But
here's the tricky part. Remember, the T line always creates everything else.
Okay.
Okay. So the T line is I'm not enough, right? When you and I are advanced enough in this work, we know then that if that's the T line, that's the belief, the reticular activate, the RAS, the reticular activating system.
That's right.
Right. The RAS is spending all of its time looking for evidence I'm not enough, right? So from that T line, inadequacy drives the behavior of seeking external validation. We also know when I go seek external validation, it's from what? The A line? Action line?
Actions, yes.
Okay. Actions. I go get validation from external, right?
Yeah.
Does that change the T line?
No.
Okay.
That's the results you wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not listening because the T line is constantly saying I'm not enough. And then this is getting a little technical, right?
Yeah.
Which creates, again, the emotion of inadequacy. Inadequacy has the behavior, the A line of go seek external validation. I go externally, go look, am I enough, Carmen?
Yeah.
Did I do this right? Was that good enough? Right? And you're like, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Guess what my brain does?
It reinforces it.
It says, that's not true. She's lying.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That wasn't good enough. Because the T line, I'm not enough. It's only going to find evidence to prove I'm not enough. So when you're constantly saying you're good enough, they don't believe it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. It doesn't get through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Which then it's infuriating for you because you're like, I told you 500 times.
Yeah.
Right? That's why it's messy to get in other people's models.
Right. I was just going to say, but then you're trying so hard to change their model and you're actually making,
you're not doing
you're not
anything.
you're
They
not
don't believe you.
moving,
Right.
helping them move forward, or moving
Right.
anything really.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why it's so much helpful to stay clean, stay out of the model.
Mhm.
Same example, we'll just stay with it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not enough, inadequacy.
Yeah.
I come to you and I got that model running and I'm seeking validation from you, right?
Yeah.
Like for you to just hold space. Like, God, man,
Yeah.
that must be like, tell me more about like why you don't think you did a good job.
Right.
Tell me more of like why you haven't decided it's a good job.
Right.
Right. So then they can start like problem solving themselves.
So it starts to help them change that T line.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That must be painful to feel like you're not enough a lot.
Yeah. I can see where that gets a little bit tricky. Yeah, because if they're constantly asking for that validation and you're trying to be positive and supporting, and you're like, I could see myself falling for that, being like, oh no, you did, that was a great job, thank you for all your help, like that was really helpful, but that doesn't change
Their T line.
Yeah, their T line.
Yep.
I see.
Yeah. Now I'm not saying that we don't validate people.
No,
right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it is helpful. Like all of us want validation. I love to be validated.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's the circumstance of a person that's constantly looking for validation from you. Right.
Right.
It's
where it's like their model, or that model is at the forefront with most interactions. Yeah, with that person.
Yeah. And you're finding yourself asking me the question, how do I change other people's models? Right. Like it's because of, right, like they have a T line that's running and we can't change other people's T lines, right? Like,
yeah,
we are told as coaches, like never coach someone unwanted. Always get somebody's permission to coach them. Right. Sometimes I do a good job of that. Sometimes I don't. I'm very good at unsolicited coaching. But I think it's like when we can keep it clean, like just allow the humans to have their emotions, right? Whether it makes you feel uncomfortable or not, it doesn't matter. That's your work.
Right.
Yeah. When they want to change, when they want to do something different, they will initiate the change.
Yeah, very true.
Right.
Yeah, and respecting that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's important.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to come off like very harsh, like, well, don't be complimentary, people, don't validate people. Like,
yeah. I think there's a distinction. You made a distinction there that it makes sense. That it's for folks who are constantly in that inadequacy model, right, that they've created in their life, is that instead of engaging and trying to change that, holding space for them, in that loving way until they decide they want to change their model, and if they don't, that's okay too. But recognizing that you're not recognizing your role in their model, instead of saying, okay, I'm just going to hold space and just be neutral about it, right? Just being neutral instead of trying to change it.
Because another reason to stay out of other people's models is we don't know what people are thinking.
And you don't know where they are.
Right.
I mean, even if you're in a relationship with them and you've been with them for a while, you're not in their heads. Right? You don't always know what they're experiencing, what they're thinking, like what they're processing on any given time. Sometimes we think we do, but
that's why it's messy.
That's
right?
why
like unless you know what their T line is and you have permission to help them. It's a big assumption game, and I'm trying to make you feel better so I can feel better. Right.
Which in the long run isn't really helpful for either party involved.
No. So we just let them have their model.
And that's okay.
Right.
So,
I hope that's helpful.
I think so. That makes a lot of sense.
Let the people have the models. Right. You go do the work on your models that are creating your emotions. Right.
If you're uncomfortable with their model.
Your emotions are directly coming from your models.
Yes.
not other people's models.
Right.
Cool. All right, friends. Talk to you later.